Hello, today we are going to talk about the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, how you can take it, how you can pass the exam. So this is the most basic AWS certified exam. Let's look at the possibilities. So there's AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, and then this is the so-called foundational level. So this is the entry point. And then there's the associate level, solutions architect, associate developer, associate sysops administrator, associate. Then there's professional level, solution architect professional, DevOps engineer professional, and then there's specialty level. So I recommend that you start by taking this exam, AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, and if you manage to pass the exam, then consider another exam as a second step. So the first step, Certified Cloud Practitioner, and then the second step, you choose one of the other exams. Okay, the first step to do is pass the Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. Okay, let's see how this thing looks like. So there's aws.amazon.com, which is the website of AWS Amazon Web Services. And then there's the certification page. So by looking at AWS certification on Google, it will take you here. You will need to have an account. So you will need to create an account both on Amazon.com, maybe your regular account that you use for Amazon.com shopping. And then you will need a separate account for aws.amazon.com. So one is for regular Amazon shopping, and the other one is for the Amazon Web Services evaluation, because you're going to evaluate for 12 months Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Services is the cloud platform, the #1 cloud solution worldwide. It's from Amazon. The second largest cloud platform would be Azure from Microsoft. Okay, so you're at this page. You have 2 accounts. You're using your Amazon Web Services account to get here, and then you say schedule an exam. Okay, you'll get to this page where it says that you will need to sign in to AWS Training and Certification Center with your account. You go sign in, and then here it requires that you don't use your AWS account. So you're on www.aws.training. You would expect you need to use the AWS account, but no, you need to use your regular Amazon shopping, Amazon.com account. Okay, then you go to your account, and in your account you have the possibility of registering for an exam, of managing your exams. After you take your exam, you pass your exam, you will have your certifications in here. You will have some discounts if you take the CCP exam, Amazon Web Services Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, for the next exams that you're going to take. And you have just one provider for the exam, which is called Pearson VUE. So this is the organization that's going to give you the exam and make sure you're not cheating during the exam, and it will certify that you passed the exam. So it's called Pearson VUE. There's no other option. And Through Pearson VUE, you can take the exam either online, which is the vast majority of people use the online option, or you could use their so Pearson VUE have in some major cities a local presence there, so a brick and mortar shop where you can take the exam. I am suggesting you use Pearson VUE. I am suggesting you take your exam online. So that option is called online proctoring. The other option is called a testing center. So I suggest we use online proctoring. If you don't speak, if you're not a native speaker of English, you can request an exam accommodation where you request that your exam is not 100 minutes, as is for everybody, but is longer, because you will have some disadvantages. You're not a native English speaker. You will not be able to understand the questions and the responses that you need to give during the exam. So that's what's called an exam accommodation. You can request that your exam is longer than 100 minutes. Then there's other accommodations, because if you take your exam at home using online proctoring, you're not allowed to leave your chair for 100 minutes. You're not allowed to get out of the webcam, so your head should be viewable at all times using your webcam, and nobody is allowed to enter your room. Nobody is allowed to talk in your room. Nobody is allowed to exist in your room. Your phone should not be within your reach, but you'll need to have your phone for the preparation phase of the exam. So have your phone by you, but keep it like 2 meters away from you. Okay, so other exam accommodations would be if you have some special needs, like a screen reader or something similar to help you pass the exam. Okay, so you're going to schedule it. You know how to manage it. 24 hours prior to the exam, you can cancel your exam, you can reschedule your exam, but again, not within the last 24 hours before the exam. So within the 24 hours before the exam, you can't change the date and time of the exam. Okay, so this includes additional testing time for non-native English speakers. Okay, you should test your computer, so you should have Windows, you should have a laptop with a webcam, recommended by me. You should test that you can install the application that's needed for Pearson VUE online proctoring. That can be installed on your machine. Your computer should not be a work computer, so should not be a member of an Active Directory domain, should be your personal computer, should not have fancy firewalls, fancy antivirus software, and they recommend that you don't use Wi-Fi, so wireless networking, but you use a Ethernet cable to connect to your router, where you get your internet from. So your wireless router, you connect from that using an Ethernet cable to your laptop. If your laptop doesn't have an Ethernet cable jack, I suggest you buy a cheap USB 1 gigabit Ethernet dongle. Okay. What else? So you should in a day previous to your exam, you should test your computer, your room, your everything. There is a test option there, so do use that. Okay, and then in the day of the exam, you should start 30 minutes prior to your appointment time, because you will need to with your proctor to fill in forms, to show pictures of your ID, identification documents. You will need to use your mobile phone to show the proctor the surroundings, so how your room looks like. You should have plenty lighting in the room, okay, and you also need to make 4 screenshots with your laptop's webcam of the surroundings of the room from 4 different angles. So it's going to take 30 minutes easily before you can do all of these things and get to the exam. That's why they suggest 30 minutes prior to your appointment, you should start the procedure of taking the test. Okay, so don't have any of your belongings on your desk. You must use a chair, you must use a desk, so you can't take your exam standing or sitting in some other places. So you need to be sitting on a chair and you have your laptop on a desk or on a table. That table should be empty. Okay. So again, no cheating, don't have anybody talking to you. You're not allowed to read aloud your questions such that somebody can hear them and tell you the result. You're not allowed to read aloud your exam questions, because your exam questions are top secret, so you should not share them with anybody, your exam questions. Okay, so you'll need valid identification, which could be your passport, national ID, or driver's license, but it should have a image of you. So there should be a picture of you on your valid ID. Okay, the candidate is required to present 2 forms of original, so no photocopies, no legalized IDs, so original IDs and 2 of them, and valid. So there should be a primary ID and a secondary ID. You should have your signature on your ID documents. Okay, name should be available also in English characters. Says unexpired government issued ID that includes your first and last name in Roman English characters, recent photograph, signature, passport, driver's license. Okay. And really important is that your AWS training and certification will use the name that you have in AWS. So make sure that both in Amazon.com, in your account in Amazon.com, and in your account in aws.amazon.com, you have the exact same name in the account as you have on your ID. So for instance, my IDs have my name in uppercase, and in a certain order. So I needed to edit my accounts, my AWS Amazon.com account, such that in my account my full name appears in the exact same way as it appears in my documents. Okay, so I suppose that you're 18 years old or more. So if you can't change your AWS account, the name in there, within enough time, there's a procedure where you need to present documents to make sure that your Amazon Web Services account is yours. Okay, so don't do that. A week prior to taking the exam, make sure that AWS account, your account, actually has your full name as exists in your documents, to allow for some time. Maybe it takes some time for AWS to change your name in your profile. Okay, so you're not allowed to take any form of breaks. So no toilet breaks or anything. You're not allowed to leave the view of the camera, so you're not allowed to stand if you're sitting on a chair. Okay, no kind of breaks at all. And if you do something suspicious, they have the possibility of terminating your exam. So don't cheat. Okay, so a special application will be installed on your computer, and there you will need to follow the steps that are shown by that application. You need to agree to a candidate code of conduct. You must provide text, data, and images. There's a timer. You have 100 minutes. You must have 70% of the questions that are not so some of the questions are not part of the exam. They are intertwined in there. You will not know which questions are part of the exam and which are not. And out of those that are part of the exam, you must have 70%. So 70% of those questions you need to provide the correct answer for. Okay, you will know how many questions there are, how many questions you answered already. If you don't know the answer to a question, then you can mark that question as flag for review. You're not allowed to use any pen or paper, so there's a comment button. There's end review, end exam. There's a survey at the end. I skipped that. Or not. No, I said it was good, not excellent, at all of the questions in the survey. Okay. So I'm using online proctoring. For Pearson View, you can use any day of the week, any hour of the week. So I took the exam at 3:30 in the morning. You can choose between English, Japanese, and Spanish. Spanish is not available 24/7. Japanese and English are available 24/7. English means India. Okay. Okay, so that's about how you schedule and how you take the exam. Now let's look at what you need to learn in order to pass the exam. In order to prepare for the exam, I would do three things. One, so at least 70% of the questions seems to be about you knowing the list of all AWS products. So what is Snowball? What is EKS? What is, S3? You need to know the name of the AWS product and a sentence about it. What does it do? S3 is storage, the default storage in AWS. EKS is Kubernetes, right? So you need to have a mapping from the name of the product to a sentence that describes the product, and you need to have that for all of the AWS products. And the list of AWS products changes every year. So in this list, I can see 238 Amazon Web Services products. The second thing that I would do is watch a really long tutorial. There's at least 3 on Udemy. There's at least 2 good ones on YouTube. And I would increase the speed, so go 1.5 times the speed, because if a good tutorial is 8 hours long, and you can speed it up, because I know how to take the exam if you're a programmer, a sysadmin, a DevOps, a software development manager, so somebody in the IT field. If you're not somebody in the IT field, then I have no clue how you can pass the exam. Whatever I'm talking about, what you should learn is for people that have used computers, have programmed, have written automation, have written shell scripts, etc. Okay, so it's for the people that have their day job in IT. And the third step I would do, take 1 or more simulated exams. Why you want to do that? Twofold. You want to see how prepared. So again, do know the list of all Amazon Web Services products, because that's going to be 70% of your questions at least in your exam. Do watch a really long tutorial about Amazon Web Services, because you will need to learn about what the cloud is, what are all the competitors of AWS, many details about all of the AWS products. So during the exam, you're required to know just a few things about an Amazon Web Services products. You're not going to configure them, you're not going to use the management console. But during this long tutorial, you will find more things about the products, how the products come together, which product is required for which other product to work. There's no reason in having a product that's provided by Amazon Web Services if that's not available to your customers on the internet, and you will need a second product to make sure that the first product can reach the internet. Okay, so how the products come together, how you can configure them. There's no reason to remember everything that's shown during the long 8-hour Amazon Web Services tutorials. What you're required to learn is this list of products. Okay. and then whatever extra you will learn from here, it will make sure that you get at least 70% of the exam questions correct, if you know the list of all products and some extra bits from the tutorial. And you take simulated exam, which introduce you to the atmosphere of the exam, so you know how the questions look like. So there's two types of questions. There's radio button ones, where you can select just one option. So there's 4 possible answers, so just one is selectable. Or there's checkbox type, but just 2. So there's 5. There's a question, 5 answers, and you can check just 2 of the answers. So if you want to, you select the wrong 2 ones, you need to unselect them and then to select the correct ones. Okay, so checkboxes, which means more than one option can be selected at the same time, but just 2 options can be selected at the same time, because that's what it says in the question. The question says, please select the products that, and then in parentheses it says pick 2. You know, so it tells you the number of answers that you need to select. Okay, and during the exam, the simulated exam, you will see again that you have forgot some of the Amazon Web Service products. Okay, so where's the list of all Amazon Web Services products? The first one, and that's most up to date, is their actual list. So amazonwebservices.com/products. They're all sorted alphabetically by service name, and you will need to know the name and something about that service. Some services are way more important than others, such as S3 is way more important than AWS IoT Core, right? But still, you need to know something, a minimum amount of information about each and every one. Okay, Amazon Internet of Service, Internet of Things Core, connect devices to the cloud. Okay, Internet of Things Fleetwise, vehicle data near real time. Okay, so like this, Alexa for business, Alexa meaning the voice assistant, similar to Apple Siri. Upstream is about your organization providing you Microsoft Office through a web browser. Aurora is Amazon's MySQL or PostgreSQL or PostgreSQL Enterprise DB. Okay, etc., etc. So you need to learn at least this much, at least a sentence about each and every of one of the products. You get bonus points if you actually take a piece of paper, letter or A4, and you write then down the name of the product, a sentence about it, the name of the product, a sentence about it, 238 times. Amazon EC2, this is virtual machines. DynamoDB, no SQL. EBS is block, so that means similar to a SSD partition for virtual machines. Okay, ECS is about Docker. ECR is the Docker Container Registry. Okay, so do write down the list, this mapping, product name, a sentence about the product. The next thing to do once you did this, or you could search on the internet for AWS cheat sheets, but these tend to be incomplete because you can hardly fit 238 things on a sheet, and they tend to be outdated, so that might be from 2019. which is 3 years old, so it's totally incomplete. Maybe the name of the products have changed in the meantime. Okay. The next thing to do is look on YouTube or Udemy or some other place for the longest tutorial about AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. So the longest one, that's the most important. And you watch it all. 8 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, no matter how long it is. If you can tolerate increased speed, like one being the normal speed, you can watch it at 2 times the speed or 1.5 times the speed. There might be Australian accent involved, there might be Indian accent involved, so. And really important, don't fall asleep or during you watching the tutorial. So there's no need to do in the Amazon Web Services console whatever the instructor does. It's important that you just watch from start to end without falling asleep the entire video, even if you spread it across multiple days. That's not a problem. But you need to have each and every minute of that, have it watched. Okay, so how I do that? youtube.com, Amazon Web Services tutorial, search, and then I go filters and I go over 20 minutes. And the newest one and the best that I found is this one, 13 hours from freecodecamp.org. freecodecamp.org, really great source for long tutorials. So this is it. Okay, so do watch this. I could watch it with 1.5 times the speed, because the trainer speaks really fast, so I couldn't go 2 times the speed. Okay, and then for simulated exams, again, there's simulated exams at the end of all of the tutorial packs from Udemy, but there's also ones on youtube.com. So you go youtube.com, Amazon Web Services Certified Cloud Practitioner questions, and then, for instance, this one, which is 3 months ago, 500 questions, shaping pixel. Okay, so this thing. Okay, and on the day of the exam, again, you use your room, your laptop, your mobile phone to test, let's say 24 hours in advance. So do the steps that are on Pearson VUE test, where you test your computer and your webcam, etc. And then on the day of the exam, do read whatever you wrote down again to refresh your knowledge about the list of AWS products. 30 minutes prior to the exam, actually start taking the exam. And that's about it. Again, if your day job is in the IT sphere, then I see no way of you not passing this exam with these 3 steps. Not necessarily easy, but that's what I would do if I wanted to take the exam, and I took this exam, and that's what it actually was required of me to know. So this is it. Thank you.